Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tea Time Podcast. I am your host, Maximus. We got
Michael.
Sandra.
Miguel Francis
Fernando.
Inigo Montoya.
Period. He's back with us today.
Fernando.
And today, are we going to do the agenda thing, or are we just going to go straight to it?
Yeah, you can hit it with the agenda, but then you have to commit to it, though. There's no flaking out. Once you've said it, it has to happen.
Well, yeah, I need my clipboard. All right, so on the agenda today, we have the Anthony Carmelo case. We're going to go over the Iran-U.S. war because we've missed a lot since our last airing. And some little quick fire stuff that we're going to go to, FIFA news, and then some little small stuff that I didn't put on our notes just because I was like, we'll just talk about it real quick if time allows.
He's trying to take us by surprise.
I always do it in this direction. All right. Anyways, yeah, we're going to start off with the Anthony Carmelo case just because that's in Frisco, so it's nearby where we are or in our area. You know where exactly we live.
Good thing you said that. I would have followed that up with, "Oh yeah," and it was. But no,
Yeah.
you're right.
Just in case we ever do become big and stuff like that, so people start doxing us or
When?
Sorry, positive thinking.
Guy's not a believer.
He's not. And you know what?
What do you mean I'm not a believer?
Exactly. When?
We need to start doing credits so it just has my name on all of it.
Editor, producer.
Yeah. Special character.
Special effects.
Yeah.
No co-host.
Yeah, co-host. Yeah, no, we'll start with the Anthony Carmelo case. We'll go over just like the brief synopsis of it, and then we can go from there on our thoughts and whatnot. So, for our audience that doesn't know, or for our cast members, even though we did a little bit of research on it, at least enough to where we can say we have a formulated opinion on it. It started out with a high school track meet where there was Anthony Carmelo. I want to say 18, right?
He was 17.
17?
They were both 17 at the time.
Oh, he was older.
No, I think they're 18 because he's 19 now.
Yeah, because it was a year ago. I know it was 2025 when it happened.
It happened in 2025.
So we'll say he was 18.
Frisco, in the rain.
Yeah, so they were at a track meet. It was raining that day, and all the other schools and during this track meet had these portable tents. And unfortunately, Carmelo's team didn't have a portable tent, and so by happenstance, one of the other schools that was nearby, he realized it was one of his friends who were over there. So he went over there to conversate with them. And, while he was under the tent and he was talking to his friend, that's when Austin Metcalf approached him. That's when Austin Metcalf approached him and then basically told him.
You forgot to introduce the team, mind you.
Oh, did I? Okay, well, I'll paste that one in. All right,
we'll slide that in the middle.
Yeah, we'll slide. I'll edit it. I'll fix it.
Yeah, please continue, teacher.
Sorry.
Sensei.
All good. Yeah, that's when Austin Metcalf approached him and told him basically to leave, that he doesn't belong here. And then Carmelo then replied back with, "Leave me alone, and we won't have any problems." Of course, that's where the story kind of starts to differ with the defense and the prosecutors. Some people said that he immediately threatened him, while others say that he basically told him to back off. But then at that point, Carmelo turned back and pulled a foldable knife out of his bag, and then that's when he proceeded to stab Austin Metcalf straight to the chest. After life-saving measures were made, he did not make it and was pronounced dead on the scene. So those were basically the facts that they could ascertain from cameras and from the bystanders that were there. After that point, that's when they start going into what the offense or the prosecutors and the defense were saying about what all took place in that moment. But anyone want to fill in any gaps in there?
There was a moment where Austin Metcalf told him to leave the tent and then was approaching him, and I'm paraphrasing. He said something along the lines of, "Touch me and see what happens."
Yeah, I kind of said that.
And then he touched him, and then he still pushed him, and then he stabbed him.
Well, allegedly. Because that's what I said.
There's no real, video cameras in there because it was a tent. It was a track field, so there's not a lot of locations for cameras. As per the, I guess, students, because there was no teachers there. There was no staff. There was no adults. It was all students and track individuals. From what they said, testifying in court, that's what happened.
Yeah, well, I think there was there was a couple of teachers there. They just weren't there.
In that
There.
No, they
moment.
weren't there in that moment, which is like,
Yeah.
okay, well, all right.
But needless to say, it is a tragedy. I've known a few people at work where we were talking about it, and they were telling me like, what I thought of the situation. So like, this is my opinion on the whole thing. I was like, a death is a death, you know. So there has to be some type of punishment for Carmelo. Um, Now, when it comes down to the 35 years that he was sentenced to, I felt like that was a bit much because there was certain precedents passed previously for self-defense cases that were in Texas, and I think one was in Florida, if I remember correctly. I got to look at my notes, but they were either acquitted or max 10 years.
So I know
So
the 10 years one you're talking about. I was looking.
yeah, and so I'm gonna mention those two as we go along into the further depth into it, but like just to get like our viewpoints out like on the thing so they can be like, oh, where we kind of lean on. But I was like, yeah, at the end of the day, someone did die. So in my eyes, I'm like, regardless of what the situation was, you did bring a knife with you to school grounds. Weapons aren't allowed in school grounds. It's like going into a bar with the gun or going to a hospital with a weapon. It's just like, why would you bring it there in the first place? It's not allowed. So at that point, you're putting yourself in grounds of legal recourse. But then also, I think it was, well, I mean, see, that's another thing I didn't like about it because every time these cases go through and there's judgment passed, there's precedent being set. And so they said it was forceful, unnecessary force. I was like, he stabbed him once. Sure, it was in a pretty, danger or not the fatal spot that he stabbed him in. So I was like, okay, I guess you can use that terminology, but it's like in other cases that I was researching into, it's like these students or people stabbed this person multiple times. So I was like, that's where you would use unnecessary force. So I was like, I feel like that terminology is not something I liked. But at the end of the day, he does need to get charged with something just because, it is murder at the end of the day. Even though I'm, very strong on the castle law and, self-defense and everything. But in this situation, I don't think those two things coincide with each other.
Well, it was overall just a very unfortunate event. When me and my friends and I were also kind of talking about the case as it was happening and all the live updates that were going on throughout the past year. This case got news recognition overall just because of the basis of what it started to gain traction on more of a political and a racial side of things. And that's where, unfortunately, I think it kind of crossed into a blurry circumstance because again it like you said, it was a stabbing, it was a murder, it was at the end of the day the victim is now unfortunately deceased. And from what I had read too, I believe he had died in the arms of his, like, I think his brother was holding him when he took his final breaths. I don't know if that was something.
Yeah, it was his brothers, and I think it was or one of the coaches that was there because he was saying that he was like a retired army. He basically knew that like he was taking his last breath.
And unfortunately too, like even the victim's family members, they were like, can we keep the racial side of things and the political side of things out of this? At the end of the day, they're also hurting and trying to grieve their now deceased child and are wanting justice to be served in the correct manner. And also in Carmelo, for Carmelo to have been sentenced to 35 years and at some point, from what I had read to the death penalty got brought up a lot, kind of towards from like the outside um, viewcasters and just like news outlets. And to me, that seemed too intense for the death penalty. I didn't even know still existed. Point blank. Period.
Yes, there's still some states that do partake in capital punishment.
Which is insane
Does
to me.
Texas? Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say I feel like Texas still sticks to it.
Which is insane to me because it's like at the end of the day, it's like there's already one death in this situation. Who is to decide that there should be another one?
So you're against the death penalty?
Well, yeah, I think there should be other. I think there's certain circumstances, but I think in this case, I truly don't think it was to be, like you said, I mean, there's other cases that, I mean, it's a max of 10-year sentence. So why is it being brought up in this case? At the end of the day, it was a kid who clearly didn't understand what he was probably doing, or probably didn't realize the full extent of what the consequences would be of his actions. And clearly, I think a sentencing should be enough punishment, but at the end of the day, again, I wasn't a part of that jury and or make that like decision. But I think people who were sitting in that jury, it could have also been more what I had read too. It's like it seemed to be all like the reason the whole race thing came into this was also because the entire jury was white. And so I think a lot of people were trying to say that, oh, it was because this entire jury that's on this case is white, and so that's why that's being brought up, the death penalty. And so they were trying to make it seem like, oh, y'all are taking it out of, like into a bigger scale. Whereas if he would have been also a white kid, it would have been so, I guess, like intense.
Well, you
And
got to remember the prosecutors are the ones that are pushing for the death penalty. The jury, they pass judgment, or they can, depending on what the ruling is, like it's either the judge that makes the final call or the jury makes the pass of the judgment. But it's the prosecution that is asking for the death penalty. You got to remember, it's a grieving family at the end of the
right,
day. Their son just
exactly,
died.
exactly. And so that's why it's like, to me, I mean, again, it's like this case is very sensitive, and I think very, like, at the end of the day, I guess it ended up being very controversial for all that, ended up coming out of it. So I think that's why there's a lot of opinions that are out, and a lot of, like, different. 'Cause I think I was also seeing a lot of wow, TikTok, a lot of videos of just like people who had donated towards Carmelo's funding for
So the
getting
An
GoFundMe.
attorney, yes.
Yeah, did any of y'all had a chance to look into it more? I heard some things, but it's not. I can't say with a sure 100% thing that it's true.
Unfortunately, like, I think because like it was hard for me to find much, because since then a lot of the GoFundMe had been taken down, because I guess it had been considered a complete
Yes.
fundraiser.
Case
And
had closed. They were
yeah.
raising the funds for an attorney. The case is over. Attorney's no longer needed. We've closed the GoFundMe. Yeah.
Correct. And then I think the family tried to open up another fundraiser through a different website that also got taken down. But again, there just wasn't a lot of like information about it to really like state clear facts, or like even like clear like resources. So that's why it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of,
We're still in the middle of that
yeah,
situation evolving, the controversy of the GoFundMe. What did they do with the money? Did they spend all the money? What's happening with it
So
now?
I saw a couple of things through social media saying that they spent the money on a new house. And so like I didn't look into that part, because I was like, it's irrelevant really. I mean, it's up to say the least if the family did truly buy a house with that money at the end of the day. Because I'm
Yeah, if
like,
that did happen, yeah,
because I
absolutely.
was like, the immediately after the judgment was passed, they went for an appeal, and I saw that part at least. So I was like, they are appealing for the case, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, I wonder if that's true. So maybe I might some text somewhere and be like, if that's true or not.
Whenever this is published.
a
Yeah.
very unfortunate case. I mean, at the end of the day, there is a death, and rest in peace. Very condolences to the family that's grieving, of course, because it is pretty recent. It was only what, a year ago that this
Yeah,
happened.
April 2025 is when the incident happened, and then it just passed judgment earlier this. What about you, Michael? Any additions or thoughts? What do you think about it?
I'm a little torn on the sentencing. I do also agree with capital punishment in general, but from how it went down and the way they talked about it, and his interaction with the officer, it did seem like he didn't want to kill him, but he did want to hurt him pretty bad. So it didn't seem like he wanted him dead, but what he did was still drastic. It was more than the situation required. At the point you just walk away, but it was escalated, and then like that quote that people are throwing out, touch me and see what happens. It's like, no, at that point you walk away and de-escalate the situation. You doing that, you're priming the situation. You're egging someone on for a conflict. So definitely shouldn't be total innocence. Yeah, this was self-defense. It's like, no, that's not self-defense. you're somewhere arguably you shouldn't be, because the way they talk about tent culture is, yeah, you don't have people from other schools or even outside of your team under these tents. That's space for your team unless you have an adult who has said otherwise. But there was no adult in the situation. It was already outside of norms. Um, Even if Austin Metcalf had, said something crazy when they were under the tent to get him to leave, it's like you should have left. I feel like he did escalate the situation by saying, touch me and see what happens, prompting him to do it so he would stab him. Something children would do if you look more at younger kids. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Touch me and see what happens.
I'm glad you said that, because at the end of the day, even though they were 17, 18, 19, regardless of that age period, at the end of the day, they're still teenagers. Like, their mind isn't fully developed. They're going to do brash actions. They're not going to think about it at that moment. I mean, shoot, even adults, we have our moments where we'll, see red or something like that, and we'll make a mistake or something like that. So at the end of the day, like, not that I'm saying that his actions were justified. I'm just trying to in all the variables that led to what happened.
Yeah, the actions were wrong, but it's kind of understandable. It's like, you're still kids. Where was the teachers? Where was the coaches to let, something like this happen? And
It's just an unfortunate situation. Just a lot of bad things happened all at once, and it led to a tragedy. I mean, you should never bring a weapon with you to school, hospital, bars, restaurants, regardless of what our laws are. I mean, you're bringing a weapon, you're intending to hurt someone if the time comes to it. And especially, in that day and age.
in that situation, yeah, especially to a track meet, you're showing up to run, jump, throw things, but you show up with a knife. It's like, okay, are you expecting something to happen? Because whenever you're at a school sponsored event, you don't expect anything like that to happen. You show up to a basketball game, a football game. No, you're expecting to watch football or play football. Same thing for the track meet. So
Yeah.
I also feel like him having the knife was like, all right, what did you think was going to happen? What were you expecting? Like, were you anticipating this? Because apparently some people say they knew each other prior, and other people say no, they never knew each other before this. I don't know.
It's just too much hearsay. I mean, it's the same thing with the evidence that was presented during the court case. I saw a couple of clips of it where they were trying to find, or they were showing the video footage of the cameras that were in the stadium. And I was like, yeah, you can't tell what the hell's going on.
No, they're too far away.
It's like watching like a old bank video or like a camera from a gas station. It's like, unfortunately, just people's not going to spend money on decent camera in those types of situations because, no one's going to think something like this is going to happen.
Yeah, no, coming from an environment like that, usually the reason they have cameras out, like, one, it's hard to have a camera out there because this wasn't like a football stadium, it's just a track stadium.
Right.
So they only have a set of bleachers and a little post box. So there's not really anywhere to put cameras up so you can see closer onto the field where this did happen. You're already far away. When you're trying to cover this whole field, they're just trying to see bodies. Because typically, if you're in a school environment, something happens, it's, oh, so and so got in a fight. Okay, check the cameras. And you'll see, oh, there he is in a blue shirt, and there's Jimmy in the red shirt. You can see them walking around talking to each other, and now they're fighting. And then you can see, people kind of step in and move stuff.
Or
But
just
in
someone
this
like
case,
coming to the stadium to vandalize it or something. They get like a license plate or something like
or
that.
that
If
too.
even they can get it.
Yeah, you're probably not getting license plates, but they can get the make and model of a car. They can see this many people, they were wearing this.
44p.
Yeah. Something
Yeah.
like that.
No, it's rough. It's hard out there.
But yeah, no, at the end of the day, yeah, 35 years to me, it feels a tad bit excessive when it comes to events like that. Like I said, not to devalue anyone's life or anything like that. Yes, someone did die from it. A kid did die. So I'm not taking away from that at all. It's just for me, it's like, for me, anytime something or ruling has been passed, it's always about precedent. Like there was that doctor went into someone else's apartment and shot him. So like that one,
He walked into the wrong apartment and shot someone.
yeah, like I totally agree with the statement that the fact that she murdered someone. I have no disagreement with that whatsoever. The only problem is the precedent that it's in. They said that it was intentional and was premeditated. You can't prove premeditation. So now you've given her, what was it, a class 2 or something like that, violent criminal crime or whatever. And I was like, no, that's not what it is at all. I was like, it was an accident. Call it manslaughter and call it manslaughter and then charge her for that. Don't say she, first degree murder or second degree murder and was like, oh yeah, no, like this was premeditated. And I was like, no, she walked into a wrong apartment. Like I was like, the sentencing is not the part that bothers me, it's the precedent that they're setting for. Because if this happens again, they'll be like, oh yeah, it was intentional.
Yeah, wasn't there was footage of that, right?
Yeah, there was footage of it, and
I wanted to say, yeah, I remember them saying they heard someone say, what are you doing in my house? Your house? What do you mean?
Yeah.
yeah, no, and like at the end of the day, like I was like, the ruling I'm not against at all. I mean, yeah, if someone got killed in the situation, they did nothing wrong. Like the point of it is that the precedent that was sent was like, yeah, no, it was a second degree murder. I'm like, how? I mean, if you look by just base definition, I was like, it's not. That's the only thing that bothers me is always about precedent that's being sent forward. Because yeah, no, if this happens again, where it is a truly a self defense case, the person could get charged with 35 years or even more. I want to go over some of the other cases just so like we can kind of like compare and contrast.
Yeah, because what was it? It's like Jason Anthony or something like
Casey Allison.
Casey Allison. Yeah, that was the one I saw too.
Yeah, so Casey Allison was a big one. This was in Belton, Texas in 2022. He was sentenced for 10 years in jail for killing Jose Ramirez. Same thing, it was deemed as a self-defense incident where they fought in the bathroom. Allegedly, it was over a girl, like after a party at prom or something like that, that led to the fight. This is the part that got interesting in my eyes because it obviously is not a copy and paste of what this situation is. It's just, yeah, I feel like it was more evident that there should have been a harsher charge, but it wasn't. So, one, the victim that was stabbed multiple times, not just once in a fatal area. Two, the victim that passed, Ramirez, according to his friends during the trial, was known to start fights and antagonize people, and he would actually have his friends record the fights.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get into whenever you're done covering
So
it.
yeah, so that's where I was like, okay, it's not as black and white as, or even like in this situation as the Carmelo Anthony case, I was like, okay, in this situation, it was like, yeah, no, he was defending himself because the person was known to be an agitator, going to fights and stuff. Might have been even cornered in the bathroom or something like that. So in those situations, like, what do you do? If he stabbed him once, they might have deemed it differently. But yeah, no, the fact that he stabbed him multiple times, that's when they were saying, it was unnecessary force. But that was one of them. And then, of course, the second case that everyone has been referencing that I looked into, of course, and everyone probably knows about was the Kyle Rittenhouse. Back in 2020 in August, where he crossed state lines with an AR-15 rifle. He lived in Kenosha, and then he went over to Antioch, Illinois, where there was a riot going on because of an police officer killed a civilian, black civilian. And so the people there were upset, and they were kind of
they were rioting, yeah.
They were rioting, civil unrest. And so he went over there under the guise of providing medical aid with an AR-15, mind you. I don't know what kind of aid you're doing, but yeah, he said he was going to be there as a medic and provide, protect the private property. But yeah, ended up killing 3 people and was acquitted on self-defense. So, just as I said, the precedents that are being sent here is what pisses me off the most. It's not the judgment. Sometimes it's always the precedent that's being set.
So I'll play the devil's advocate on those. So in the case of Jason Allison, the difference between that and Carmelo's incident is Casey Allison and Jose Ramirez, they had already prearranged, we're going to go fight in this bathroom.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. It was prearranged. They were like, nah, we're going to go fight. We got beef. We're going to take it in this bathroom. And so Kaysen went in with his brother, and Ramirez went in with 4 of his friends, 4 or 5 of them. They went in the bathroom. They started fighting. Kaysen Allison realized, he didn't want that smoke, wanted to head out of the bathroom, tried to get away. But one of Ramirez's friends was blocking the entrance. Like, no, you're not going anywhere. You're going to fight. And then his brother also got dragged into a fight with someone else. And then, like you were saying, Ramirez liked to record his fights. So they had footage. Like there was a guy at the door blocking entrance. They recorded the whole thing happen. They had the video evidence. So one, this was already a prearranged fight. They're like, no, we're going to go fight. So he already brought a knife to a fight on school. So he brought this knife in with him already. So it's like, yeah, it seems premeditated. And then you get to the fight started, you know, he's getting whooped on and said, I don't want to be here anymore. Tried to get out, but he couldn't. So then it's okay. You're in this bathroom. You're getting beat up. You're going to catch this beating. It's a loss. And there's other people there. So the thought was, no, I'm going to get jumped in here is what's going to happen. I'm going to get jumped in this bathroom. And then that's when he stabs him 4 times and then runs off. So the difference is slightly, he couldn't get away. Like once the confrontation had started, if he wanted to leave, he could no longer leave. So it's like, all right, you're going to get beat up until Ramirez decides it's done. And then in that situation, it's okay, well, so then I'm just going to get beat up and I could be beat till I die by Ramirez and his friends. And that's going to be is what it is because I can't. Ramirez is already beating me up. If someone else wants to jump in too, it's over. I'm totally at their mercy. My life is now in their hands. So in order to regain control of his life is when he pulled out the knife and escalated it because I guess he was in fear of his life is how prosecution put out that case, you know. He got in a fight, started losing the fight, wanted to flee, couldn't flee, was pushed into a corner, and he's like, all right, it's either me or him. And that's how they spun it. Whereas Carmelo Anthony, it was, no, you need to leave. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to make you leave then. Touch me and see what happens. And it's like, okay, now you have the option to leave. You're not put in a situation where it's you or him. You could turn around right now and walk out. However, you chose not to. Instead, you stabbed him. So he had the option to leave and remove himself from the situation, whereas Jason Allison did not have that option. He was in this situation where he felt it was, you know, his life or the other person's life. And that's, you know, where they came to the conclusion it was self-defense in a lesser term. And then as far as Kyle Rittenhouse, the only reason they spun it that way was because there was video footage of him running from people who were chasing after him. Even though he did have a gun, these people were still chasing after him, you know, oh, we're going to get you. And then he was able to say, no, I was scared for my life because he tried to remove himself from the situation. However, they were going to escalate it and come after him.
I mean, I'll put it on record. He was a piece of
He was. Like, that's a thing to do. Like, granted,
like you're coming in with a gun, automatic rifle. Like you cannot spin it to me one way or another saying that you were fearful of your life.
Ooh, did y'all just hear that they also loosened the gun laws as far as like users? They loosened up. I think it happened this week.
In Texas?
Overall in the Supreme Court, I think all of U.S.
Oh no, I didn't hear about it.
It was a light article that I was reading, but it was something that just popped up.
But yeah, no, like Kyle Rittenhouse is a piece of
oh yeah, that was shit thing. He knew it was about to go down because like that year had just been crazy. Like Black Lives Matter was in full swing. There were several instances of cops clearly doing wrong by someone because of their race. Like the body footage was out. Everyone saw what happened. It's like, no, what you did was wrong. And we had seen people, they were willing to riot. They were burning cities down, you know, throwing bricks, breaking into places. Madness. You knew it was going to happen. That court case was going down. You knew where the verdict was going to go. And so knowing that there would be conflict, he brought himself into that situation. And that's where I'd be like, that was also premeditated.
And it would cross state lines too, so it's a felony.
Yeah, there should have been a criminal charge on him for that. Like he should not have been in that situation. He didn't live there and it happened to be like, oh my gosh, these people are coming in my house. Or even if it wasn't full automatic weapon, if you concealed carry and he was, you know, oh, I was out, trying to get groceries, or I was out doing something and these people came after me, that would have been different. But the fact that you left your home with the weapon, drove across state lines to somewhere you knew
Was a hot
would
zone.
be a hot zone. You knew it was going to be politically charged. You knew there was a high likelihood of riots breaking out. You went there looking for trouble. There should have been consequences for that one.
Yeah, and he had a tactical vest on too. I mean, granted, he didn't have like any armor on him or anything like that, but still, like, what's that saying? It's like, if it eats or whatever, it's a horse or something like that.
If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah, basically. I was like, yeah, no, if you're in a military getup and all that, like, what else are you expecting from? If I'm during a protest and I see someone like across from me, like with an automatic rifle or a weapon or something, like,
it's time to go.
Yeah, either I'm running or I'm gonna be like, oh shoot, like if he starts raising or something like that, oh, I gotta disarm him. Like it's one way or another. It just depends on if you're a man of action or if you're like, fight or flight, basically. But I was like, yeah, no, I was like, that's what I'm saying. I understand the Carmelo Anthony's family and the base that he is the base of group that's saying that, yeah, no, this is racially charged because of these previous incidences. The thing is with you say Casey Allison, it's not a right or wrong. It was multiple variables that were put into place, and it was, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you were outnumbered in the bathroom, even though it was a
premeditated fight. Like y'all knew you were going to fight.
a scheduled fight. At that moment, it doesn't mean that you can fall through with it. Maybe at the point he got scared. Maybe he's like, I don't want to fight this person anymore. And like regardless of the fact is that they entrapped him at that point, holding him in that bathroom. So yeah, you can be fearful of your life, which I would agree with. And so I was like, yeah, at that point, some type of force is necessary to defend yourself. If you put that self in your situation, like I said, that one is up to the legal system and that was up to the jury. But I don't like how that case is being compared to this one because it's apples and oranges.
It's not the exact same situation.
It's not the same exact situation. So you can't say one thing or another and it's saying, oh, because he's white, he got a lighter sentence. That is not the case at all. Especially you gotta take yourself out of the situation and look at it from a third party perspective and take race out of it because, like I said, justice does not. It looks at it blindly. Kyle Rittenhouse at the end of the day is a piece of shit, and I'll say that on the record. I was like, that motherfucker should be in jail right now as we speak because he made some stupid comment a few months ago about some other case going on, and he was toting around with his gun again, putting it on social media. And I was like, this.
No, that's goofy. He's not good people, and I would argue not very educated. Like you said, he brought himself into that situation, and then acted surprised when it broke out like that.
Yeah, starts crying and saying that I was scared for my life.
Yeah, no. Oh, I bet he was scared. I won't argue that. Yeah, they're crying. Oh, scared. I bet you were, buddy, because those people, they probably would have either killed you or hurt you really bad. I won't argue that. But you shouldn't have been there. You drove across state lines somewhere you knew there would be violence.
Well, even going there, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to say it's right or wrong, but the fact is you brought a weapon with you. You are setting the scene for something tragic to happen.
He showed up with the weapon.
If you truly went there to provide aid, you know what? Go for it. That is your prerogative. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want to, and I'll even support it too to a certain extent. But I was like, when you're going in there and saying one thing and then bringing something else with you, it's like if you're going to a mechanic, it's like, oh, here's the tools that I need for it. Oh, by the way, I brought this bomb with me. Like, it doesn't go together.
Well, then going back to the Carmelo case, bringing the knife with him to school, he probably shouldn't have.
And I carry a weapon with me all the time, and yeah, I do run the risk of killing someone.
School?
Not at school, but
yeah, on a school grounds is what she's saying. Like it's a whole level. It's like, yeah,
I mean, and also just like premeditated fights. Like, I can't believe that's even still a thing because I remember even in my middle school that was a thing. Like,
it'll always be a thing.
And that's insane.
Well, it's like the adult version of what's it called? Where you can like actually fight someone in the legal tense.
Oh, mutual combat.
Mutual combat. Thank you. I was like, yeah, no, that's a real thing. It's mutual combat. Of course, when you bring a weapon into it, it's completely off the table, and then you're going to jail. But
you can't bring a weapon to it, and you can't do it on school grounds.
Yeah,
like that's why
it says consensual adults.
Consensual adults. Okay. So I'll say that's one reason they're like, yeah, don't fight on school grounds. You fight on school grounds, like, no, zero tolerance. You're in trouble with the school now, regardless of how the other person.
But to go back on what you were saying, absolutely, you have to. At the end of the day, the school has a policy. You don't bring any weapons with you, regardless of what it is, and so that's why I say he should still be charged with something,
Yeah.
and with murder, because in my eyes, there, unless you are truly in a situation where you're fearful of your life, I will stand by you 100% that saying you have every right to defend yourself. But in this situation, I disagree with it completely. He could have walked away. There could have been a lot of things that could have happened besides this kid dying. So that's where I'll disagree with you. But I will tell everybody this. Yes, if you kill somebody, mistake or intentional, or regardless of what it is, if you are not protecting yourself in any form or fashion, you deserve some type of sentence at the end of the day. Now, what that number is not up to me. That is whatever the law of the land says. And so I'll disagree with anybody that's saying that this, that, or the other. That's my personal beliefs.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, I thought he would have had a higher sentence, especially with. I heard people being upset about it before I saw the numbers. So I was expecting like 60, 70 years, but 35.
I mean, that is
I
his life
almost,
still at the end of the
it's
day.
most of his life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is most
he'd
of his
get out
life.
when he's like 50.
So,
Shoot, even halfway through 17 years, if he got, was it parole? Shoot, you're still in your like mid 30s. That's a good chunk of your life. You haven't done schooling. You're definitely not going back into track.
I mean,
What are
your
you
life
gonna
is
do?
over. I mean,
Yeah.
your life barely started.
well, hopefully the appeals go through and he finds a judge that also agrees with the certain circumstances and follows the rule of the law, saying that, based off of certain precedents, 35 is a bit of a harsh number. Now, what number I have in my mind, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you 5, 10, 20, whatever the number is. I still feel like compared to what I've heard and seen on other cases, especially with certain ones like these, I feel like 35 was a bit high. But and also, I mean, it's a burden on our society at the end of the day. That's our tax dollars that are going into play for him being in jail and everything like that. So I was like, you have to account for all of these things. But hopefully the appeals go through and we'll, follow the story as it goes along. But if y'all are okay with that one, I'd like to continue on. Good, good.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
good.
So, as we were on our hiatus during this time period, a lot has happened with the Iran-U.S. war. Supposedly, we have reached a conclusion. I think this is what, the 7th or 8th U.S. victory over Iran. I've lost count at this point.
Yeah, back to back to back to back to back champions.
That's crazy. It went from this isn't a war, this is an excursion, like we're at a cruise, to we have total victory.
Call Donald Trump Charlie Sheen because he's winning.
I win here and I win
Big
there.
winning. So, just one things I want to pinpoint here and there. So there was the 14-point deal that was made, agreement between the U.S. and Iran, where they will unfreeze the assets that the banks have been holding on Iran. I forget what the number was, but it was something really,
24 billion?
yeah, something like that. It was a high number, but
Billions, yeah.
as Trump likes to say, that this isn't U.S. tax dollars; these are just frozen. Which, I mean, that one is true. Like, all frozen account numbers are, business, financial money, and everything that was held on the oil. But yeah, $300 billion was given also to Iran to reconstruct the country and for reparations for the war, also for the deaths that were made, especially the kids that died in elementary school.
Will be given if the treaty falls through and everything.
Yeah, so the stipulation was that they go back to the original. And this is the funny part. So the last podcast we talked about how we were talking about Obama had a deal with Iran, JCPOA or something like that.
JCPOA.
Yeah, something. Yeah. So that agreement, in legal terms, they said was more restrictive on Iran's uranium program compared to this one.
More detailed agreement.
More detailed agreement. So this we can definitely have loopholes in it involved. But as Trump likes to say, that it is a complete victory on our end, because at the end of the day, Iran is going to have no nuclear weapons, which not really under that agreement.
They were already not supposed to.
Right.
So
They never did. They had enriched uranium, but they never had any ballistic missiles or anything like that for it. So I was like, at the end of the day, like, was there really anything done about that? That can be argued upon the populace. But along with that, there was the treaty at Versailles that was signed by Trump, and the French president was hosting it, which I thought was hilarious because it's like, every treaty that's been signed over there has always been like a big historical moment. And I like how some of the commentators are saying that Trump doesn't understand the significance of that location when he was signing it and, conceding to defeat basically. But, like I said, he's playing chess and we're playing checkers. Um, what else? So there is one final deal to be made with the vice president and such, where he's going to go to Sweden to finalize the deal within 60 days. It's basically on a temporary ceasefire that we're in.
yes, it can
Is
be
Miranda
revoked or adjusted or whatever.
So basically, the
The biggest contingency being Israel.
yes.
Are they going to play it cool?
So according to Israel's standpoint, they are not under this agreement. They can have absolute recourse in it. So if even Trump has started to condemn Netanyahu finally, where he was basically saying that you need to cut the out. He basically said that.
Yeah, what was it? Yeah, someone said there was a call he was on. Yeah, what was it? I remember seeing a quote. Somebody was outside of his office listening to a call to him, and he's like, "There was something like, what the are you doing? Or you're really things up, BB." And it was like,
yeah, no. So Iran is quick to, be like, no, deals off, because at the end of the day, they were the one holding all the cards. The situation was not in U.S.'s favor at all. Even Trump, during his presidential thing, was saying that our oil reserves had maybe 4 weeks left before it was completely ran dry.
no, the emergency oil reserves they never got replenished after Joe Biden released a bunch of the oil back during his presidency.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Trump also released some in his presidency too, in his first go around. But yeah, no, it's been drained several times and it hasn't been refilled.
So our dependency on oil is not as big as he was making it out to be. I mean, according to him, we weren't doing so well. But let's see what else. As of right now, Lebanon is still at war with Israel. It went from their religious militia group, the Hezbollah. It's now also have gone to their state army. It's escalated to that far now. So will Iran continue with their deal? It's up in the air still. But I mean, at the end of the day, they've gotten the best part of this deal is because of all the contingencies that they're placing on. I was listening to some of the cabinet members speaking about how while the 60 days in place, the Strait of Hormuz is opened, but once it's done, there's no stipulation in this deal where they can start running a toll on the strait.
Running a toll, reclosing it, whatever.
Well, no, that was another thing that though they said that it has to remain open, so like no blockade or anything like that. But the only thing is now that they know that that is a key point in our world economy, I should say.
Oh yeah,
they have 100% the right to toll every country. And I mean, what are they going to do? You have to stick to it, basically.
They do, and that's what the U.S. has already been doing with the whole euro dollar system, petrodollar. Like, because they're able to say you're trading oil exclusively in U.S. dollars, everyone's using dollars, so the U.S. can do whatever it wants with dollars since they make them. But ever since this, and countries like Saudi Arabia have started selling oil to China and yuan. It's like, okay, if that falls apart, the American economy is going to be laid bare, and it's going to have to begin facing realities because it's been functioning illogically for many years now.
Yeah, and another thing that upsetted me was during Trump's speech that he was saying about it, that's going to go through. Of course, I talked about his saying that there's not going to be any responsibility placed on who bombed the elementary school. There was another incident that happened, I think it was earlier this week or last week, where there was an Indian tanker that was targeted during the strait when they were passing through. And it turned out to be the U.S. that actually bombed them. And so there was a Mayday call made, and they have the video and clip of it. I might put it into the video if it's not copyrighted or anything like that. But yeah, no, you can hear the distress beacon that they were placing out, and they were basically saying, "Stop firing on us!" Like, we're Indian tanker so and so, and I think 2 people died and the rest of them drowned.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an awful thing because yeah, Trump was boasting about his blockade, saying that that's what caused Iran to basically come into terms and sit at the table so we can start talking about an agreement. And I'm like, you're a f***ing idiot, dude. I was like, you can't blockade something that's already been blocked. I was like, all right, man, whatever floats your boat. Even the best part about this is Lindsey Graham, Mr. Gun Ho, Iran this, Iran that, agreed that this agreement is beneficial for the United States, which made me laugh. But as of right now, since what was it, the 17th, gas prices in Texas, the average is now at $3.50, and the U.S. is $4.03.
Yeah, no, it's high. My hopes would be that for the U.S. to truly get out of this conflict, for them to go forward with this treaty, I would say they need to. It might come down to they need to be like level set and be like, hey, we can sign this for the U.S. The U.S. won't do anything, but whatever Israel does is what Israel does. But here's what we can do for you. If Israel acts out of line for however we define in this treaty, the U.S. will cut support. Because Israel's only as big as it is because the U.S. sit here and bankrolls it. But if they go, hands off, Israel's going to start going down. They're going to lose their funding.
Well, that's when you start going into the conspiracy theory of whether or not United States and Israel are basically one and the same country. Because of all the politicians owned by AIPAC.
Because AIPAC keeps throwing the money back.
Yeah. Because that's the unfortunate thing is even that was another thing that I wanted to mention too was Thomas Massey losing that race in Kentucky to another constituent that basically will get $23 million in AIPAC funding to win the race. I was like, the fact that that's happening at Plainview is crazy to me. Even I forgot what's his name. There was somebody that is one of those I follow the news basically, but he was saying that the only thing that this constituent ran for was bringing back the draft. It's the only thing that he really tried to press for anything. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I was like, it's the corruption is so blatantly obvious, and people are just going on like their day to day thing. Like Thomas Massey is the only Republican that was for the Epstein files release. He was like the head of the group that was trying to do the congressional hearings and stuff with Pam Bondi and everyone else that was involved in the Epstein files that her name was released. He even threatened to go into open Congress and speak out the rest of the names. I know he backed out of it, but he said certain things that were true. But yeah, no, he was a big proponent of the Epstein files and the Trump cabal that's going on with our country, and he lost to a constituent that was supported by AIPAC. So
yeah, the fact they're running on the reinstating the draft.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing that he was pushing for in his entire campaign was the draft. Nothing else of nature or anything beneficial to the state, country, or anything.
Yeah, see, that kind of makes you think that, they're trying to push for a World War III.
Fuck Jews.
Trying to create a front in the Middle East. There's already a front in Eastern Europe.
Well, they found out very quickly that this day and age warfare has changed significantly. Ukraine showed the same thing with Russia, that warfare has changed. It's not by how many tanks, aircraft, or superiority of land you have anymore. It's all about money at the end of the day.
The drones and the technology, the resources.
Iran played a very, very smart hand in this. They were like, we're not going to win this war, but we're going to draw it out as long as we can, and we're going to bleed every country dry that's involved with it. And sure, they did.
Mhm.
Oh, well, no one's going to let it get to that point. People realized, oh yeah, no, we can't do anything with this.
Well, there's finally an advisor that reached Trump's ear and was like, we're not winning this war. Or Trump finally got out of his state of dementia for a second and was like, oh, shit, something's got to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they ended up negotiating it. It's kind of like, was the cost of war even worth it up to this?
No, we spent $10 billion. $10 billion. The records that have been sealed, they've only said we spent $10 billion in this war. In the first 2 weeks, we spent almost $4 billion. I don't believe that within a month we only spent $10 billion.
And I mean, shoot, you could say, that was the cost of war. but the cost that had on the global economy
Yeah.
was way higher, and that
Exactly.
impacted more than just the U.S. Impacted a lot of the Asian countries that lost access to oil.
It's just created like a long term, almost instability overall after everything that happened. And unfortunately, it's just, again, it's his initial objectives of,
None of them were met.
exactly. It's
The regime hasn't changed.
exactly.
One of the things they keep pushing for was regime change. It never happened. It's still Khomeini that's in power as his son. The missile program, I mean, there's different schools of thought. There, one say there was, one there wasn't. They had enriched uranium, yes, but there wasn't a nuclear bomb that was being made or anything like that. So that never happened. Even though, what was it, last year in June, he said that their entire nuclear program was wiped out. So that was either met or not met. The strait was never closed in the first place. Then when closed, caused more problems, and now it's open because he caused it. So everything this man touches basically just goes to.
It was senseless.
Only year 2, guys.
Nah, man. By November, his ass is going to be out of office. Yeah,
We'll get to voting.
yeah. If he remains in power because of gerrymandering and all this bullshit that the Republicans are going to try to cross with the voting and all that across the states, at that point, it's just pure corruption. The man's demented. His mental health is not sound. The fact that his own cabinet and his own Republican Party is starting to say the same thing, that he is not of the sound mind to lead this country, like, and the fact that he keeps falling asleep during every damn thing he's in, like, just goes to show that, yeah, no, he's not a fit leader. I mean, have y'all seen the reflection pool nonsense that's going on?
Yeah, just a waste of money, paint at the bottom of it. You did, and then they put something in the water, start peeling the paint.
Peroxide, hydrogen peroxide. You know, no. So that is a clear. There's no way you can argue against it. It's money laundering. He gave his friends that he knew in Mar-a-Lago the no bidding contract, which is, I mean, do y'all know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he gave them a no bidding contract, so he's paying them whatever they asked for. Went to $14 million, I think it was, and they're going to do a job because they got the money at the end of the day. They're not going to file any lawsuits or anything like that trying to get our money back, because that's our taxpayers paying for this, by the way. Yeah, it lasted literally one day until that algae grew, and then he just got some Joe Schmo, like 3 or 4 guys that were cleaning the pool. If you've seen the videos, it's insane. It's like, it's like mile stretch of this water, and it's like 2 or 3 guys with little skimmers just going around scooping up the algae, and then they're pouring just like regular. Basically did a Home Depot run and just pouring hydrogen peroxide into the water to kill the algae, and all the paint's peeling off. What's he doing?
Yeah, no, I think there's a very good shot at impeachment. They're writing the articles of impeachment, and they'll have to go through, file it, and then see if they can get everything together to get him out of office. I think there's a better shot, because I want to say they did that during the first term, but it was like, yeah, what'd you not like about it? And it's like, I don't like the things he says. He's saying things that incite violence. He's saying things that are charged, and it's like, yeah, but he's saying things. He's not, doing things per se. Whereas this go around, it's like, no, you jumped Congress, tried to say, oh no, we're at war, so I can make all these decisions. I can do all these things just because I want to, because I believe it's wartime. And he took actions that damaged the world economy and the U.S. economy as a whole. And I think that'd be much more actionable versus, he said things because,
Well, I mean,
I want to say back then they're like, yeah, don't be so sensitive. It's just word.
well, no, and on top of that too, I mean, even in the Epstein files, it like, there was a woman that said that she was sexually assaulted by Trump, and there's like files of it. Like, what more do you need at this point? Like, the fact that there's still a MAGA base blows my mind. It just goes to show how stupid this country is.
Yeah, it's social media. They just sit there and they just go, same content. Big up Donald Trump. Yep, keep giving it to me.
This is what me and my uncle were talking about too. It's like anyone that you argue with that's a MAGA supporter, they don't hit you with facts. They just regurgitate what they hear on the media or on the news of what they tell you. Like, that's the crazy part about it. And he's like 100% right. Like, they don't ever say anything factual or like anything else that they've researched. They just regurgitate what they've heard.
Yeah.
Fortunately, though, I have seen a lot of videos where a lot of people are coming up and saying, "Oh, yeah." I mean, now they're realizing that they voted for
Madman.
yeah, but hopefully, come November, it reflects in the polls on.
Yeah, no, I hope that piece of shit's out of office. Like he's like that. This country's falling apart. I mean, the World Cup is like the biggest like just evident of how up this country is right now. Like, you know, the fact that FIFA even still continued with the plan still pisses me off too. I mean, shoot, when what was it when Nazis were going to host the Olympics, they tried to form a coalition to move it to another country, and I think Spain was the one that were idea of it. And even then, that didn't fall through. But like the solution over there was completely different from the one over here, and that's another thing I wanted to kind of segue into was how a lot of the countries that were coming here were so severely mistreated. I was like, it's an event for countries to play together and show sportsmanship and how we all are alliances and we all live on this planet at the end of the day.
I haven't seen too much of that from what I've seen from the whole World Cup being hosted in the U.S. The only two things I saw was, I think it was one of the European countries. They went somewhere and they were watching the game at like a bar or something, and they ended up drinking, or not the game.
Oh, Scotland drank all the beer.
Scotland, that's what it was. They showed up, and
In Boston,
they drank all the beer. It was like, oh my gosh, let's go.
They were pranking the statues and they were throwing like street cones on top of all the heads too, which is kind of funny. I was like, they're not vandalizing it per se; they were just acting silly. But yeah,
Just got blitzed. I'm like, yeah. And
but yeah,
then
no, Michael, it was a bunch of bullshit coming into it because there was a ref from, I want to say, it was the Moroccan team. Actually, don't quote me on this. I just know it was one of the refs that got denied a visa for no reason. It didn't say anything besides the fact that he's just getting straight denied. And it was a big dream of his to host the World Cup and be one of the refs there, and they were just like, "No, you're coming in, buddy."
and also the well, I guess the unwelcoming of the Iranian team to California. They have to travel back to Mexico the same day. They're not allowed to stay overnight in California after their game. They have to travel back to Tijuana, their host city.
They're not allowed to.
They're now host city.
oh, like not because of Californians, but like US rules per se. That
So I mean, FIFA fans have been very welcoming, but the country itself has made it very difficult for even the Iranian team. Like, besides just the team players and the coach, their
supporting staff and whatnot.
exactly, their supporting staff was for the majority denied entrance visas for the game, and so it's kind of like, I mean,
There was another team too. I think it was Paraguay or another one of those where they got stopped at a random stop because they were checking for a bomb, and all the players were forced to get out of the bus to get checked and everything like that. And it was just racial profiling.
So I'm hearing government issues, not people issues.
No. Yeah, the people.
like I said, the FIFA fans have been very welcoming. I mean, there's just a lot of
The country as a whole is supporting
the
the country as a whole, as the United States population is supporting this, the games and everything like that. But it's law enforcement and precedent set by our very government that's creating this unwelcoming, hostile environment. Like I said, even the Nazis in Germany has hosted the Olympics. I mean, of course, they didn't like the Jews. They even said it themselves that no Jew players or anything like that because they're not athletic enough to be in a team. Like, I know it's crazy, but at the same day, they were welcoming the rest of the country and the world.
Everyone but Israel,
basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one exception to the rule. There was a fencing player. I forgot her name though, but yeah, she was allowed to play for the U.S. team.
Yeah. So I mean, on one hand, it sucks, but I get it. You're technically at war with Iran, and it's like, all right, you just got a whole bunch of people from Iran just showing up.
The game has always been stated as not political. FIFA is its own entity, so
absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be condoned or anything like that. I mean, even I made a short video of the situation back in 1993 with Iran and the U.S., and this was the first time they met up since after the hostage situation, the hostage crisis that happened. And even the FIFA people were like, we're throwing politics out. This is a game. We are being sportsmen. And Iranian players are very nice. They brought gifts for all the American players that came into that game and everything like that. Every penalty was treated with like absolute kindness and everything. So I was like, that's the country that I was known for. You know, United States and Iran, not this bullshit.
And I get it. Like I said, at the end of the day, though, they are still at war. So it's, you have to be cautious with who you're just letting come on in, man. Like if there was some event going on in Iran, would it be, just let in anybody you want from, the US or from.
Don't host the World Cup though, is what I'm saying.
I would have said don't have this whole war, but because the World Cup gets established years in advance.
Right, but they've had it to where they've had moved the venue from another country. That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, as the process put into place, it was poorly dealt with. They thought either go ahead with it because the US is going to make a lot of money off the tourism for it or something like that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to host a game where other countries are going to come to your countries, stop the bigotry and racism, or don't host the game. Like that's my point of it. It's like what? It's like, oh, I'm going to invite people over, but I hate a certain group of people, so they're not allowed. Why host anybody then? That's my argument in it.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't, like the whole Portugal thing, crazy. That's why I was like, people in the government, because there's already been issues with the police and customs and whatnot, and it's technically wartime. I get it to an extent. It's unfortunate, but it's like I get it.
Yeah.
Like if some Middle Eastern country was hosting it, they'd probably be like, "Who from Israel's trying to come in here?" Because it would it would seem that Israel, because it's a lot of it'd be cool. So I want to say, didn't something like that happen at the Boston Marathon a few years ago?
You're talking about the bombing?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know enough about it to say one thing or the. I just remember the like actual incident. I don't remember what followed afterwards.
Yeah. But just that, like things can, like this can be a public event where it's like, yeah, man, we're here to play soccer or we're here to run. But it's like, all right, depending on the geopolitical climate, at that point in time, could something happen? Do you have to be wary? It might not be FIFA has beef with the Iranian people, or even, most US citizens have a beef with the Iranian people. But just that the US and Iran are, for all intents and purposes, until earlier this week, in a war.
And that's where I kind of stand with it too, because I mean, at the end of the day, luckily, I mean, the team is staying not too far from where they're playing the games. I mean, their travel time to Tijuana, where they're being hosted, is like 2-3 hours at the end of the day. So I mean, and most soccer tournaments, like even when they're in Europe countries, that's usually their travel time to get back to their host city. So I mean, in fairness, overall, I mean, they're still here playing the games, unfortunately, I guess, like, we're at war. I mean, there is still a lot of tension between the politics side of things, but at the end of the day, luckily, I think the fans, the citizens, the host cities have been very welcoming to the teams that they're hosting, and so I think it does create this sense of. My friends and I were also talking about this. It kind of starts to create a sense of like peace and community amongst citizens, but again, that should also be reflected from our commander-in-chief of the day.
Our governments.
Our governments.
The people aren't wanting to go out here and beef like this. It's a lot of the governments are wanting to go out here and beef like this. And the people who are behind the government, it's like, okay, oh, we want cheap oil. Oh, we want to push the envelope. Oh, we want more money. Oh, we want more land. The US going to Iran, Russia invading Ukraine. I'm sure the average Russian guy wasn't like, yeah, man, we need to go back. We need to take Ukraine. That's what we got to do.
I was gonna say the last unanimous support of a war was World War II, and then after that, like it's always been controversial.
Yeah, up to this point, it has been, because no one no one wants to expand borders. No one feels that way. No one wants to exploit another people for their own financial gain. Like most people are like, yeah, the Middle Eastern people in the Middle East, they have oil. They have oil under their land. It's theirs. Let them dig it up, sell the oil, money moving through the economy. But there's some people are like, no, what if we took over? What if we went there and assassinated leaders and we got a different guy and put him in charge and he gave us favorable conditions?
It's also controlling the stocks. I mean, the corruption here is just it's insurmountable. It's crazy because it's like
Yeah, it's them trying to get one over on everyone else.
like everyone that's been friends with Trump that knows they're being fed this information too. It's like, oh yeah, this is going to happen. Like this war is going to take place, or this, ceasefire is going to happen. Everyone that's in that circle has made so much money off of this conflict that I hope that God there's a hell or some type of judgment to be passed because it's insane to me how rich these people are getting off of this.
Oh yeah, like they have enough money, but they just want more.
Yeah, and that's always been the biggest fear of millionaire or rich people has been always like the idea of them losing their money. I mean, just recently, Elon Musk has become a trillionaire, and he's been getting a lot of backlash for that because they're saying like it only takes what $14 million or $16 million to end world hunger or something like that.
Oh yeah, to feed everybody on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, he did make a reasonable request, and he said that he wants oversight in the financial institution. So
Oh, he's like, yeah, if you can make it happen, yeah, you organize it, put it together, make sure I have complete visibility.
yeah, I was like, I want receipts. So I was like, I completely understand that one because I was like, yeah, a lot of these charitable foundations you find out are actually just embezzlement and just basically siphoning money from one place to another. So
it's a shell game. Yeah.
So I was like, I totally understand his point that he was making. But at the end of the day, there shouldn't be a trillionaire in this age. I know people argue with me about capitalism. That there should be a cap, and then after that money goes back to the people. There is no trickle down effect anymore.
Never has been.
Yeah, it never has been.
Trickle down effect isn't real.
Great that they talk about in the Bible, man. I don't think it's 100%.
And the U.S. dollar is inflated to all hell because of all the printing. It's $1 trillion. $1 trillion gets you what it does now, but like, a lot of countries, they stopped buying U.S. bonds and they started getting as much gold as they could. Like China, the last like 10, 15 years, they've been getting all the gold they can because that's something that inherently has value. The dollar only has value right now because it was like, oh no, you want to buy oil, you have to do it with a dollar. That pretty much means, yeah, a dollar is the same thing as oil. It's a finite resource. It's worth something. It gets you somewhere.
We got to start saving bottle caps.
Start getting your gold coins and silver coins, guys.
Probably at some point in the, I don't know how near future.
Oh, yeah, no, Israel. I have a playbook in mind. Israel's going to go complete batshit crazy, and they're going to use a nuclear bomb, and then China's going to get involved, and U.S. is going to get involved, and we're all at that point. Hopefully, we can figure out how to desalinate water.
I would hope not. Yeah, because I feel like if Israel used a nuclear bomb, if they weren't instantly condemned and abandoned, then yeah, that's when the Fallout movie starts. That's when everyone starts shooting it. It's like, well, if he shot me, I'm going to shoot you. Well, he shoot you, I'm going to shoot me.
Yeah, a lot of countries are jumping on that bandwagon of supporting Palestine and basically demonizing Israel, but the world leaders or the governments aren't doing about it. Like that's what I hate about it too. Is like, yeah, people are like, oh yeah, no, I got this Palestine flag, and like our celebrities are like, in their media platforms are like, I support Palestine and Israel, but it's like nothing's happening. They're still bombing Lebanon. They're using phosphorus gas and white phosphorus or whatever on Lebanese people, civilians. There's a recent showing that they were using bombs that were disguised as like play toys for kids.
No, Israel's on a mission to take over the Middle East, is what it is.
Yeah, it's expanding their borders, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, no action's being taken. Like, what more evidence do you need at this point? It's like, yeah, no, they're just basically waiting until a certain standpoint, like, oh yeah, that's where we're gonna step in. Like,
I mean, because it's the same thing with Russia and Ukraine. Everybody watched Russia go into Ukraine. U.S. gave them some money, and you gave them a little bit of money. They're like, hey, can we join NATO? This is crazy. And they're like, no, it's too late. You're in war now. You won't join. So it's like, all right, And they want to help them out because this was just objectively wrong. Russia came out of nowhere and just started doing this.
Well, it's because Russia's a superpower. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like if this person, I mean,
Israel has U.S. standing behind it, so it's like it may as well be a superpower.
I need to cut off the ties with them and then start this whole bull. That's what I was saying. Like while we were driving back here, I was like, no, U.S. needs to take their money and then just fuck out of here. I mean, it's too late at this point.
No, that would change the game if they lost their funding and their source of weaponry like that. They would be forced to de-escalate and come to a compromise. Otherwise, they would probably be blown off the map. They wouldn't be able to continue to sustain the Iron Curtain,
Iron Dome.
Iron Dome.
I was about to say, we're not in Berg.
That's the wall. Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to support their insane air missile defense, and they'd have to we need a level set and chill out. Because I'm under the impression a lot of the Middle Eastern countries don't really like Israel, but they're like, no, they're a little crazy with it. And Iran's the biggest country out there, and they're like, no, we're not going to stand for it. And they've been going through their little pseudo war for the last
10, 15 years, even longer than that.
Longer than that, probably longer than that. It's been 80 years since.
Well, yeah, when I was younger, I always saw the propaganda, or I've heard the propaganda of like, oh, Iran hates the U.S. and Iran hates Israel and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's not true. Like, anytime I've seen like foreign like people come in to travel in the country, they're like super nice. I was like, oh, that's not true. I was like, oh, it's the government they don't like. It's not the people they don't like. It's the government they don't like. I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like the government. It's just, and they set it up. It's all set up, man. They're trying
it's
to
all about money at the
protect
end of the day.
their interests. Yeah,
it is.
like you need money, but like there's a diminishing returns on what it's going to get you.
Well, it's like, have y'all seen about what's going on in Albania?
No.
So there's an island off the coast of Albania that's basically a conservatory like area where it's like a protected land for like the wild and stuff. Like there's like 26 endangered animals or something like that. They basically preserved it as a preservation site.
Mm-hmm. Like Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Trump's daughter and Kushner.
Oh, was that video like you were going to build a hotel out here, a hotel resort?
Yeah,
and stuff?
They were going to build that resort over there, and then that's when the Albanian population basically was like, if we even try it. And so they've been like rioting, and they went on the island and started breaking down the construction sites. And then the prime minister over there, or their president, was like, it doesn't matter if there's 500 people protesting or 5 million people, like this deal's going on. And people like, all right, into his house and set it on fire.
So I didn't hear about all that. The only thing I saw about that was maybe a minute or two of a news piece of someone interviewing her, and they were like, what's the challenges of building a resort? And she's like, oh, well, it's going to be really hard, and we're going to have to do this. And I was like, shut up. I was like, you have billions of dollars. Don't try and tell me, oh, it's going to be hard to get it together. Like, I have to find like a construction company and like contract work. I don't want to hear it. Like, you're just going to throw money at it. You're not going to be doing anything. You'll show up once every 2 months and say, how's it going? Why are they pouring that gray sand on the ground? It's concrete. But concrete's hard when I walk on it, when I'm at the mall. It's soft and then it dries. Okay. Like, dumb, I don't care. You have daddy's money. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, they were out on a sailing trip and they saw this island. They're like, oh, that'd be a cool place to build a resort on. Like, God, dude, like,
go home.
And that's like so out of touch too. Like, that's so much bullshit. I don't want to see that. That pisses me off. You show up on the news. I was driving out on my yacht and I saw an island and thought, it'd be crazy if I built a resort there. No one else has thought that. No one else thinks that. That's not a real thing people do. I was driving home. I was on 75. I looked at the window. I said, damn, Dairy Queen? I could go for a shake. I looked at it. You want a shake? That's going to shake. That's real.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're out in the middle of boonies or whatever off the 380 going to like Prosper. I'd be like, oh, this would be a good place to put a Chick-fil-A. Like, that's as far as it goes. Like, not like, oh, yeah, this is all the whole island I'm going to build a resort on.
That's probably the craziest I could see. If they had a story and it was like a regular dude and he was like, yeah, I was out there driving and I realized I was thirsty and I looked around. There wasn't a drink stop for miles. And that's when I knew right there, that'd be the dawn of my gas station. That's how bussies came about. then I'd be like, man, dang, John C. Blissey, is that how it started? You're so great. What a guy. He started from nothing and built this giant empire. No, it's just some already rich who didn't make her money. I was on a yacht and said, I'm going to build a resort on that island. That'd be so nice.
Yeah, the people would love it.
Fuck off.
So, like, if you see all the backlash from it, why not just stop it?
Yeah, there's a couple of like militia groups that said that if they ever see it in the waters, they're gonna attack them because maritime laws are different. I was like, go for it, man. I was like, I support. I was like, it's gonna be pirates right there, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Now, in Minecraft, you can't be saying crazy things like that.
No, I was like, that's what I'm saying. Like that just shows like the big gap in our societies where the rich people are just staying rich and poor people are fucking struggling for their lives. Like there's a movie I just recently saw that I was telling my uncle he should go see. It's called Blink Twice. Have y'all heard of it? The trailer? It's a Channing Tatum movie that came out recently. I'll show you all the trailer to it, but it's crazy because it's like these rich people go to like this island and like they just take a bunch of random girls and they just like party and stuff like that. Then it kind of goes into like an Epstein kind of mode to it. And I was like, damn it. But while I was watching the movie, I was like, care in the world. They just so their vacation is basically just like their life. It's like, yeah, no, they're partying on this island, getting like foods from chef. They're just getting high all the time, just getting an escape from life. While we're struggling here, be like, oh man, gas is $4. Like, when am I gonna pay? What bill am I, sacrificing for today?
No, it's crazy. They're out of touch.
Hate rich
Super
people.
out of touch. And just while we were talking about the Carmelo situation, like a lot of the thoughts that I was having, it's like, where were the teachers? And like, with the other case with the fighting in the premeditated fight in the bathroom and stuff, like even then too, where were the teachers? But it's like, teachers don't get paid enough.
I was gonna say that. I was like, that's kind of a harsh situation to be in. I was like, they're not gonna just happen to go in the bathroom and then.
Oh, but even then, but still,
paid enough. There's not enough of them. Like these classroom. That's another thing. I think we've already talked about it here, but what they're doing to the public school system, not especially Texas with these private vouchers, all they're trying to do is better fund these private schools and defund public schools. They're going to make the common person struggle even more to have quality education. And, like just with this higher student ratio to teacher, they're going to have to spend more time trying to bring kids struggling up to speed. Any child who could excel is now going to be put on the back burner because, all right, you're doing good enough. You pass. You're doing what you're supposed to. But I've got a bunch of these other kids struggling, no resources. I have to try and handle them myself. And so they're trying to keep people down while, continuing to increase their quality or their grip on it, I guess.
I'm going to tell you this, Michael. I think our education system was from the get-go. Like,
oh, yes.
When you were brought into starting kindergarten, you had this imagination, free thinking thought, whatever your interests are, that's what you should build up on. Man, it's just straight regurgitation of information. Every day, the people I work with, the people I see out in public have no critical thinking skills, and it pisses me off. Like the absolute stupidity just blows my mind every day. I'm like, any minor inconvenience, they cannot get themselves out of it. Like some random person will call me on the phone and be like, oh, so and so this. You have a phone, you have the information readily available. What do you mean you can't find a phone number? What are you on?
Yeah, no, there is a lack of critical thinking, and I'd say it's been either exacerbated or accelerated by, yes, you have a phone in your pocket and now you have AI in your pocket. It's not, you don't have to know how to Google search to be like, oh, I'm looking for this phone number. You can't just say, oh, what's this phone number? Or I'm trying to think. Prior, you might have to go, oh, I need this company's phone number. Let me Google the company, then let me go to the company's page, and then let me scroll down to the directory or the contact us and find it. Now it's Siri, what's so-and-so's phone number? Siri, how do I get here? Siri, how do you do this? Siri, here's a picture of a table. It broke. How do I fix it?
Siri, turn off the lights.
Yeah, so it's like people are going to be critically thinking less and less.
Oh, 100%. It's already happening.
I
Like,
was talking
Yeah,
about this
it's
with my uncle when we were going through our like list of conspiracy theories. I really want him to get him on the show one time just because we'll just be yapping back and forth. But I was telling him that I have a profound belief that like in sometime in the near future, how our reliance on technology is going to limit us on future expansion. Because I was like, um, so it goes back to our education, how it's built right now. So the idea of like trade school is taboo now. They're like, oh, you're a plumber, you're not gonna,
coming back up, though.
it's coming back around now.
it's coming back around to a certain extent, but I still see it to where they're like, oh yeah, no, like AI and computer shit is still the important part of it, not
No, that's a trade.
like all those things. Well, no, it's a trade, but like the discernible skill compared to like the general population of them learning it is like there's a big gap. Like most people this day and age, like younger in the younger groups are like, oh yeah, no,
Or are you
like
talking blue collar jobs?
yeah. I'm talking about like the fact that like a lot of people are like, no, I want a quick way to make money. I don't want to be out here sweating my ass off like making this much an hour. I'd rather be an influencer or some bullshit like that.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Going for like full circle here, like my full belief on this is like I don't know when like how long this is gonna take, but I feel like there's gonna come a point where we cannot even backtrace how to make these things anymore. And it's gonna be so bad to where that because like I said, this is like a big rabbit hole that I'm going into, but I just want to like touch on it just like a little bit because I was watching this documentary on like what they think the pyramids are in Egypt. It's like, yeah, no, it's not a tomb, it's like an energy source or something like that. And they were like, yeah, no, because it's like it used to have like water running through it, which causes like resonance, and it's like made out of limestone and quartz and everything like that, which produces power. So it's like all these things. It's like, yeah, no, it's a technology. We cannot fathom what it is. If you go back 10, 20 years ago and try to explain a fax machine to somebody, or 30 years ago before it was invented, try to explain a fax machine to somebody, I think you're crazy. Like to this day, I always like argue with someone. I was like, do you understand how a fax machine works? I was like, it literally scans something, breaks it down to code, ones and zeros, and it prints it out somewhere else. Like that's sorcery right there.
Breaks it down to ones and zeros, turns those ones and zeros into electrical signals, shoots them over tiny copper wires dozens of miles away along the right copper wires, mind you. Hits various different boxes that are then able to take those electrical readings, turn them into ones and zeros, process them back to ones and zeros, back to another wire to send off to another box.
And then
You
prints
do
a
the same
physical
thing 10 times and into your fax machine.
Yeah,
no, I
that's what I'm
remember
saying.
I learned because like it wasn't until this recent job that I started faxing things for the first time, and I was like, why do we still fax things? But I mean, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, people say it's old shit like that, but I'm like, if you really break it down, I'm like, that's insane that someone sat down and was thinking this from like the start of it. Like he was like, I want to send something out to somebody else. And it was just a joke. And he actually started making it from there. But there'll come a time in the near future where we cannot recreate this technology anymore. And it's going to be either destroyed and lost. Because all it takes is some type of world calamity for us to lose this information.
So I would say it would take several things. It would be either a world calamity and like 90% of the people on the planet just die for whatever reason. They're just gone. It's like, yes, you're going to have holes because like everything also gets so specific, even looking at how TVs, evolved from how they used to be to how they are now. There's probably not going to be someone alive who's going to be like, yeah, I can recreate all of this because like this is a culmination of
many generations,
many different pieces of technology built upon themselves and then put together. So, yeah, like if something disaster has happened, I could see that happening. So everything staying normal, I don't think it would happen because I think it's similar to what we're seeing now with these blue collar jobs where people wanted to be
people
doctors,
just want things
lawyers, wicker basket makers. But now that it's like, okay, well, we've done this for 10, 20 years. And it's like, no, a lot of these plumbers and electricians and mechanics have started to retire. It's like, no, we don't have a lot of those now. Now it's like these plumbers are shorthanded. They're taking longer because they just don't have enough of them to go around. So now people are like, oh, I can be a plumber and I can make more money because now that job is in higher demand because current people available, there's not enough of them because they've started to retire. I can come in and fill that hole. And we can make more money doing it now because the demand has risen.
It's because we have more influencers.
Well, my thing is me and my uncle agree on this. That a phone is our like greatest achievement in like technology. Because I was like back then, it was like all it did was is call someone from like across a certain point of distance and like being able to communicate with them. Then instant messages became a thing, and then slowly internet became a thing where you can pretty much pull plethora of information in like a few seconds. The only thing is you have this tool, but at the same time, it can also be a detriment to you because people are constantly streaming bullshit or watching TikTok videos nonstop and not learning a damn thing or like the interest to learn. And they're just regurgitating this information or just being bogged down and wasting their time. So it was like, yeah, it's like you like y'all know me. Like I do little things here and there. Like I've learned certain things as I've gone along life and like I just picked up certain trades. But I was like, yeah, no, I use these tools to learn from it and stuff like that. But like I said, if some major calamity happened, no one knows how to make their own fuel. No one knows how to recreate a microchip. I mean, if you try to break it down to me of like the electronics inside of a computer, I'm like, I don't understand how it works.
No, you would need the like yeah, there's aside depending on the calamity, if it's just like, oh yeah, disease comes through and people die, like we still have the factories, there's still a way to do these things. But if it's, the nuclear fallout, these buildings are blown away, man, good luck. You're not
It'll definitely be
making
the survival
anything.
of the fittest
Well,
at that point too.
I still think like as time goes on, our people will start straying away from the ideas of like how our technology is made. I mean, like even looking back on certain things, like if like the Roman Empire was only what 200-300 or more than that, but several hundred years ago back, you don't understand how they made concrete. We like they said they figured out certain formulas. Greek fire is a big one. They don't understand how the formula to make Greek fire anymore. And that's old technology. I mean, Archimedes during his time period was like a genius. I mean, he figured out how to do naval warfare by reflecting the sun off of other ships and setting them on fire. Like there was technology back then that we can't recreate to this day.
No, they did that on Mythbusters, man.
Back in my day.
Yeah, the point of it, like
no one does it now because it's inefficient. It's not
inefficient.
realistic.
It's not necessary. But what I'm trying to say though is that like there's a lot of like unexplained things that happened back then. Like they don't understand how Stonehenge they were able to move the rocks and like that. There's only theories that were made. They don't understand the true point of how the pyramids were made. Like I said with like Greek fire and everything like that. Those recipes I've lost. And so the point I'm trying to get across though is that like it's like basically playing the telephone game but over generations where we have this idea in mind at first, like we have this technology, like let's say for a computer, for instance, right? We have a basic computer in mind. We have this one, right? Let's say 10 generations from now, they're going to lose the idea of what a computer was or like how it was made or something like that. It will happen. It's the same thing as misinformation passes on from one person to another. It's just over years this thing will happen.
Well, hopefully we're not alive by then.
Well, I mean, we'll be long dead by then, but
I think it depends on if there's something else that's taken its place functionally and is an improved version of it. That's when you get that happening. Because I think naturally, if computers are still relevant and we get to the point where it's like, yeah, man, you go to a town or you go to a state of like 10 million people and only 5 of them know how a computer works, then it's going to be like, oh man, if you know how a computer works, you're only 5 in this state of like 10 million people, you can make some serious money. Someone's computer breaks, or you're going to call one of 5 people and they can charge you whatever they want.
that's also if the resources are available.
If that's why I said assume, like depending on the situation. Like if it's just life goes on as normal and it's something still required, then it'll still be kept up because people will want to fill in to do it. Kind of like the whole burning ships with the light. Like, yeah, you can do it. Like Mythbusters did it. They polished the sheets of like metal or glass or whatever, got the angle right from shore, deflected it, shot it onto a ship, thing lit on fire. It was like, oh man, that was so cool. But it's like, yeah, the US government Navy could say, yeah, let's go polish a bunch of metal and then we can boom stuff, or make a missile and shoot it. And like,
Well, the funny thing is they tried to use that same principle for like a railgun. They haven't been able to make it efficient enough to be like, oh yeah, this will be useful in our military.
exactly. Yeah. So it's like, if it's not practical, it's going to get left behind.
The point of it is not the practicality of it, is how in a short time span. Because I mean, our existence is a blip in the cosmos. It's like it's
Yeah.
not very long. So I was like,
No.
the point of it is that like our technology has changed so much. So that looking back on it, be like, oh yeah, no, like they didn't know how to do a lot of things that we do now. But I was like, but that's not true. There's been a lot of unexplained things that they go and only make theories about. All the technology that we have with all the carbon dating and everything, they still cannot figure out. Even the GCMS units that they can do like a, the exact breakdown of molecules. Like, we have no idea how they did this. We only have a theory. I was like, there will be a same point in our lifetime, or not lifetime, but like in our future, in our civilization, where there's going to be a point where they're going to be like, I don't know how they did that.
Oh, if they look back on it, I would have to imagine it'll have been some lost technology. Or it also kind of goes down, the pharaohs back then were kind of crazy. They were like, yes, have, people design these pyramids and build them for me, bury me inside. But whenever I die, kill the designers, put them in here with me. Huh? In there, like, yeah, as soon as I hop off this project, I'm gonna go back home and I'm gonna build me a little pyramid in my backyard, and I'm gonna have all kinds of electricity and what have you. But then Buddy said, no, kill him. Huh?
Can't recreate my
You're coming in here
masterpiece.
with me, yeah. Like, I feel like that's like a different situation.
Although it's like, the invention and the evolution of like the technology too is to fit like the current generation. So what is to say that the next thing after AI isn't even something more efficient? I mean, I always think about like whenever I think about like how technology is progressing. Sometimes like when my friends are talking, I think about like Wally in certain situations too. How like it just like people just become so dependent to accessibility and the. I mean, yeah, and that's
you go around, you're gonna see every Joe Schmo just.
I mean, Joe Schmo, even without the phones, cars.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do? Write down in the comments. What would you do if tomorrow morning you woke up, every car was gone? You go out to your garage, there's no car. Cars are just gone. Like, gas gone, cars gone. How are you going to live your life? How are you going to get to your job? How are you going to get groceries? How are you going to do your work?
Our dependency on our technologies are downfall equally.
It's like it changes things. Like, we are propped up on various technologies where if one of them came out, it would greatly impact
our
lives, society as a whole.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it's like our PC going out. What became a luxury to our protection, our home, and everything like that has now become a detriment. You're in hotbox. It's those little things. It's like it's like if you lived in a economic background where it's like, oh yeah, our electric bill got shut off this week, or our water bill got shut off this week, or something like that. Like, you've learned very quickly the dependency you've had on like all these resources.
Yeah, how are you gonna get water?
Comfort.
Yeah. Where are you getting it? How you can take that shower?
Yes.
How you can boil those noodles?
Yes.
Yeah, the car thing. I was like, yeah, no, it's like an everyday battle. Like, that's just the thing of having an old car. You gotta fix the damn thing.
It's the reality you're facing. You're like, damn it, I'm too dependent. What am I gonna do without you? Get together, boy.
How many people know how to do an oil change?
Yeah, no, that's the shocking thing to me because
You know the theory.
Oh, me and my uncle.
Call me Kitty Southpaws. I ain't changing my oil. What you mean?
No callus on this hair whatsoever.
Ooh.
Smooth.
It's Jergens, baby.
Yeah, no, me and my uncle were talking about it. He said that he was like driving off of like Fort Worth or something like that. And he saw like these group of kids like were pulled over the side of the road because they didn't know how to change a tire. And I was like, that's crazy to me. I was like, I understand if you physically can't change a tire because it does require a good amount of strength to break open a lug nut with just a standard ratchet.
No, even then, I don't know. Some people
you just gotta like step on it,
getting weak, atrophied.
Oh yeah, that too. Oh yeah, no, like back then, when I was a young teenager, I couldn't open it worth the damn. Now, I mean, it's just one hand and no problem, even without a cheater bar. But it's like the point of it is the fact that they don't know how to do.
Yeah, he's just flexing on the cast.
I know,
it's crazy
truly.
It's all that tea, it's all that protein. I just mix it in with the protein.
Yeah, the tea is actually a blend with a whey in it.
Gotta knock that down a little bit.
No, I'm about it, son. But yeah, no. Any other thoughts or ideas?
Pay your teachers more. It's unfortunate what happened. Rest in peace.
Take a piece of that.
Show up to the
American
election
blue
polls.
that's coming off of the memorial thing.
Yeah.
Show up to the election polls November.
Yeah.
Don't forget to change, people, please.
Vote. Check and see who's sponsoring your politicians. Make
even
sure
your local vote.
They believe in what you believe
look
in.
at that glass that you're looking at, licking the Magna supporters, and really think about, who are you supporting?
Oh, I'd say anybody.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? There's people both sides. You look at it and you're like, man, you get paid by who? You've been doing what? With my money? Hell no. You know what? Like, you might be Democrat, you might be a Republican, but you know what? There's always more than one Democrat or Republican running. Do your research. Who's right? Who's right for you?
Shoot, I was about to join that bandwagon and not paying taxes. Just luckily, they didn't have to pay taxes this year.
They'll come for you.
No, they'll come for me. They can
Don't
try.
do that.
They won't try. They'll come for you.
I'm better than Al Capone. I'm at least slimmer.
They'll come for you, bro. Don't play with that.
He was Danny DeVito. What do you mean?
Don't play with that, man.
Yeah. Anyways, since we're gonna do this at the end of it, we tried out Purple Blend and Gourmet's Orange Spice. Michael got it at
The Scarborough Fair.
I enjoyed it a lot. Orange.
Pretty good. Orange Spice.
Orange Spice. I liked it a
and
lot.
everything nice.
Their own custom blend was delicious.
Very good. I actually poured myself a second cup.
Yeah, definitely a good summer drink. I wouldn't mind this as like a iced tea.
That would be perfect as an iced tea.
That'd be really good.
Yeah, no.
You have anything else on your agenda? I know you have a lot of.
I did want to go really quick about this one too. Did y'all see the 250 anniversary of the US or whatever, that stupid UFC fight that was on the White House lawn?
I didn't realize it was on the lawn. That's funny.
Well, you don't know anything about it?
250 years. I knew there was a UFC fight, and I saw a picture of the. I saw a picture of the lawn.
The thing I sent you of the one.
Yes, I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, all right, cool." America. I didn't realize it was actually on the lawn.
Yeah, it was on the White House lawn. So big controversy with that one was one of the fighters that finished the match. He grabbed the microphone, and he's known to be a piece of controversial person, anyways. But he was like, Michelle Obama is a man, and like cut it off from there, and like. Yeah, no, me at first, it pissed me off because I was like, it's like that one guy in that, what is it, that little like city community thing where he's like, I go low, or I was
When they go low, I go lower.
like, nah, man,
Lower.
Obama and Michelle and all that need to sue Trump, the UFC people, him. I was like, because if it was the other way around, they would have sued everybody.
Well, I think
That's defamation right there.
what I was watching too
we
is
know.
that they were opening up that Barack Obama was inaugurating his presidential center in Chicago.
Oh, that speech he did like a couple of days ago? I loved it. I was listening to the whole thing and I was like, I miss this.
Miss the Obamas.
Oh yeah, they're good people. That's why someone can say some bullshit. Just like, okay, buddy, sure, whatever you say. Like, there's no need to respond to it. Like, it's like hopping on Twitter and seeing someone say some stupid shit. And it's like, I don't need to respond to this.
They clapped back, but they clapped back at everything, and they did it in an eloquent and presidential manner. Like, I was like that. I was like, yeah, no, the speech that both of them gave that day, I was like, And the funny thing is most of Trump's supporters don't even know what they were saying because they can't read or write. They're like, is he insulting me?
It's that, man. It's bad. It's bad out here. So just
Go get educated.
get educated. Jeez. Yeah, no child left behind too.
No, they left behind.
They ain't no good. They didn't leave them behind. They dragged them behind the cart. They're out back getting dragged through the dirt. I've been seeing a lot of reels, like little shorts of people like, read this paragraph. And it's got like, 5 big words on it, eloquent, soliloquy, democracy. And people are like, yeah, people are like, Demo crazy, brought forth a very eloquent.
Might I remind we were laughing at my Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
I apologize.
What was it you're making fun of? How pronounce hibiscus?
Hibiscus, yeah. I was like, hello.
Hey, man.
Oh, I remember that because that's when we ended the last podcast.
Biscuits.
Bye, biscuits.
Bye, biscuits. Bye, biscuits. Bye, biscuits.
Yeah, no, I was like, yeah, no, we're we're screwed.
Live, love, laugh, everybody.
Yeah, that's it for the podcast today. We've gone over everything in a short period of time, almost 2 hours. I don't know if I'm gonna break it into 2 parts.
I hope you do.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be editing for a fat minute.
Long time.
Yeah, no. We'll hopefully go back to a regular schedule again since some of our things have opened up. Our hiatus is over. But yeah, no. Thank you for joining us on this tea time, and we'll see y'all next time.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'll bring it to you, buddy. There you go.
Next episode, what happened to me?
Yeah, if you can guess in the comments.
No, it just looks like you have one really white knee.
Lift it up a little.
There you go.
Oh, there's a hole on it. What happened?